Hello, this is the Ramblings of an Indisciplined Mind podcast for Thursday, June 30th, 2016. As of this recording, Sierra is still missing. So it's the last day of June. Tomorrow is July. That's wild. That is wild. Got a holiday weekend coming up. I'm looking forward to that. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Well, today was also a due date. I'd given myself a goal of having my mission and my vision statement done. And I've at least got the first draft done. I've sent it off to the wife for some feedback, and I'm awaiting that. But I at least got a first draft done. I thought I'd share it with you. You get the inside scoop today. You people that... you few who listen to this, you get the inside scoop of my life. So I have printed it off right there. With you on video, you can see the paper. Those you on audio, you can hear the paper. I have paper. So I'm going to do my best to kind of glance at this and tell you about it without looking at it so much that I end up running into somebody. Don't try this at home or in your car, for that matter. So the mission statement I wrote is to create quality entertainment through the craft of writing by telling my own unique stories in a way that excites fans and provides enjoyment. My works will be available in a variety of formats, including ebooks, physical books, and serialized in either audio or text. I'm looking at some things in that regard right now, as a matter of fact. So that's the mission statement. That's what am I about? The mission statement is defining what is your purpose, and that's what it is. And then the vision is more about why do you do what you're doing? What is the end goal? What is your big what we called in our class the BHAG, the big hairy audacious goal. So here's the vision that I came up with. To become a working professional writer whose works are in demand and valued by readers. Increasing my fan base and revenue generation over the next 6 years to create a revenue stream of at least X dollars a month by 2022. Become a hybrid author with both self-pub and traditionally published works. So where the magic 2022 comes from is 6 years from now. 6 years from now, I will be 59, which is, kind of the earliest at which you can really start thinking about retiring. So what I really want to do is get the writing built up to the point where it can provide a good retirement income. And the retirement that I would be talking about doing would not be retiring from writing, but retiring from the day job, which would open up new time for writing, amongst other pleasurable retirement activities. But if I can get this into a sizable enough revenue stream that is augmenting what I would be getting from my various, retirement investments and whatnot, that would be a great thing. And so yeah, that's what I want to do, and I want to become. You got becoming a hybrid author and getting, that means I got to get traditionally published. So that means I got to sell a book or 2 or 3 or 12 or whatever the magic number might be. 12 is probably high, but what the hell? It's big, hairy, audacious goal, right? Right. So I also came up with some high-level goals, which I broke up into creative and business, and then business I further broke down. So for creative goals, I've got release Wayward Time on audio and ebook, and create a 3-book set of the series. So people maybe that want to pick up the series, they can buy all 3 at once, and that's going to be 2016. I want to get that done this year and be done with Wayward Time, and unless I sell it at some point, be done with the Borrowed Time chronology. I think I'm going to let that sit. I've talked before about doing new things so that I can find something that's going to be saleable. To continue to write series that aren't selling well is just stupid. So I'm not going to do that. But I do want to develop new covers for Borrowed Time and Stolen Time, and then obviously a cover that's kind of matching for Wayward Time. I want to rework the Guerrilla Poet for publication. I think there is potential in that work, and it's only on Podiobook right now. So I want to. There are things I want to do to it editorially. I've already got a kick-ass cover that I paid for, so I don't need to buy a cover for that one. That money's already spent. So I want to do that. I want to rework that and probably self-pub that one. I don't know what I'm going to do about serialization of that one. First of all, I've already got a version on Podiobooks. I would be kind of tempted to pull it because of the significant changes that I am planning. I don't know that I'm going to podcast that. I might look at serializing it another way. That's yet to be determined. But I would at least like to get it to the point where I've got it out there for publication ebook-wise, at a minimum. And maybe depending upon what's going on, maybe shop it around. Who knows? And then my plan is to write at least one new non-sequel work per year. And that's an ongoing goal. So every year I want to produce at least one fresh novel that is in a story line that I have not written on before. So those are kind of the creative goals. Business goals. Writing. So I broke up business into writing, podcasting, marketing. So writing, I want to secure the services of a reputable agent. That's going to help me in my quest to become traditionally published. So I'm looking to get that done this year or next. Sell 2 novels to mainstream editors, a minimum of 2. That's a minimum by 2020. So within 4 years. And then I want to self-publish at least one novel every year to keep that flow going. If I can get, be building up a fan base, and that happens by providing frequent works. And if I can have a constantly growing set of works in the self-pub area, I think that's going to help that. Because being traditionally published, you're going to be lucky to get like one book out every 2 years. So I want to be able to put one book out every year on the self-pub front and keep the ball rolling, if you will. So that means if I do get to the point where I am traditionally published, that might be a minimum of 2 novels a year. So that is a plan. For podcasting, my plan is this year to relaunch the Time Out podcast with some short story content. So the Time Out podcast is the podcast that I used when I was doing serialized novels all the time via podcast, and I would use the Time Out for if I had some behind the scenes information to share or stuff that was happening between Podiobooks, between book releases or stuff like that, or if I had like short story content or something along those lines. And so I want to relaunch that. I've got some short stories kicking around. I've got some that were they're kind of out, not necessarily within my normal writing. I got some that are humor based, that are based upon my experiences in an office environment that I think I'd like to share. So I'm probably going to read you some of those via the Time Out podcast. And then my plan is to podcast or in some other form serialize any self-published works. And I did a whole episode on what I was thinking about for podcasting, but maybe serializing via text is something I'm thinking about. Marketing, I want to revamp the Pensinger website. I want to, right now it's being powered by Blogger, and I want to get a more professional looking website. I might want to hang the Ramblings of an Undisciplined Mind kind of brand, I guess I'll say, as a subdomain off of that site, I'm thinking. So, because, the Ramblings has always been kind of, that's how I started off online. That was just me doing silly stuff online. And I need to get back to silly stuff. I have some silly stuff I need to finish, because I had some silly stuff that I was working on. I do have silly stuff I need to finish. That'd be fun. So I do think I want to probably kind of like draw the line between the professional stuff and the rambling stuff, and this is probably going to fall on the rambling side because it's the name of the podcast, and I'm not always serious here. Let's see, and then I actually already mentioned this, but I still have it listed again under marketing, is to relaunch the Borrowed Time series with new covers / pricing. And really, one thing I should put on here that I don't have, that I really should add, I'll have to add it later, is to my plan is to, once I get the new covers for Borrowed Time and all that, I'm going to turn them on with Kindle Select, and that is where they will only be available via Kindle. So I'll be dropping out of, I'm using Smashwords right now, and I'm using to hit a lot of markets, and I'm using Nook. I will drop out of both of those. They were never, even when these books were selling, they were never selling much there. And that way, hopefully, entice some new readers to read the Borrowed Time stuff, because those people that are using Kindle Select can then read it for free, but then I get paid for how many page reads they do. So that should be in there. And I guess the other marketing thing would be is I didn't have that in here. I thought I had that in here. Is like sometime around probably 2018, I want to start a Patreon effort. First, I got to get my fan base built up a bit, I think, and then I want to start a Patreon effort and bring in some money that way. So those are some of the things I'm thinking about. There's some other revenue generating things that I'm kind of mulling over that I might use, but that's the mission and vision. They'll probably get tweaked. Like I said, the wife's looking at it. I already, just reading through it here, I came up with one thing that was missing that needs to be on there. And actually, I can probably think of another one just off the top of my head. So it's going to be, that's the thing. They're not necessarily supposed to be set in stone. They need to get reviewed, or they probably need to be reviewed at least yearly. And getting them created in the first place is an iterative process. And I have been doing some of those iteration steps over the last month, but or 2 weeks or whenever it was I gave myself the deadline. I think it was like 3 weeks ago. But I obviously got a couple more to go. So that was really all I was thinking about today. I will be back tomorrow. I'll be talking to you then. So, be seeing you.